welcome, welcome. I want to say thank you for joining us. Today we are in day 4 of the Win High Value Clients. We have done almost everything and we are wrapping up tomorrow. So if you've been joining us each and every day, I am hoping that you got some hot tips, some insights about how to really start to take your message and just make some subtle shifts to it to be able to attract those high value clients. And once again, we are meeting tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern or at 9 a.m. Pacific. But I also want to say before we dive into today's topic that maybe some of you, now that you're going to attract those high value clients, well, your rates sort of reflect the value of what you do for your clients. It's time to stop competing on price. And that's where I'm encouraging you to consider checking out the Raise Your Rates formula. It's a program that starts May 31st. It's a 5-week live group coaching course where we're rolling up our sleeves and raising our rates and really getting everything that you need, the resources, the worksheets, the live group coaching on how to be able to increase your rates, even with your current clients that you have had for years and years and years, plus how to do it as well as lighting your workload. When you follow the Raise Your Rates formula, it's like turning your accounting firm into your personal ATM machine. And I will, at the end, drop that link for details into the chat. So Steve, anything that you want to add?
No, I'm rearing to go.
Okay, well, what I would say is please, once again, introduce yourself in the chat, who you are, what you do, where you're at. That would be great because you never know who else might be a great connection for you, just because I believe showing up, a certain type of person takes time away from working in their business to work on their business, getting those advanced level moves. And yesterday we did share about the client attraction messaging to attract those high value clients to you. If you want, I gave you a challenge, and I would love to hear in the comments, what is it that you realize your clients love about working with you? And please, once again, post it in the comments. Would love to know what your clients love about working with you.
Well, here's a quick overview, Lauren, of what we plan to cover today and also tomorrow. So today we'll show you why you want to stop selling your services. And this is actually a must if you don't enjoy the sales part.
And tomorrow we do wrap up the formula to figure out the value of your clients. So that is where we're giving you some things. We're going to be really figuring out what is it that you ought to be charging as far as your rates go. So if you wonder about your fees, then the formula starts to answer that question for you.
And by the way, do you enjoy the sales part? Please let us know in the comments section.
Absolutely. We are here to answer your questions. We want to give you all that we can in the short time we have together. So please let us know what is on your mind.
Yeah, and in order to have a business, Lauren, obviously, you need to have clients. How do accounting professionals enroll new clients if they don't like the sales part?
Well, I think let's all get on the same page. You and your clients here, we are all on the same page. Is that no one, as far as potential clients, wants to be sold to, and most accounting professionals do not enjoy the sales part. What I will say is the pitch is the most uncomfortable part of the entire process. That was true for me also, and that's why I started really investing in and figuring out how do you enroll clients when you don't like the sales part, or especially the close, handling objections. Well, what I learned is how to be able to turn those initial consultations into what I call a value conversation. Well, once again, this is right from the Raise Your Rates formula, which starts on May 31st. And if you want to be able to enroll those high value clients, but you don't like the sales part, then this is a good fit. Steve, can you finish up what I have? Because I'm going to take a sip of water.
Sure. So instead of selling your services, like I think you said, turn your initial consultations into a value conversation. And so the first meeting is a time where you each decide whether it's a good fit. However, you're in charge. You're not obligated to accept everyone as a client. In fact, I prefer that you only work with high value clients who actually respect you.
I'm gonna, and thank you for pitching in for me right there. I will say that once again, want to reemphasize that you are not obligated to work with every single client. I understand if you're new to business that you might want to take on everybody because you need cash flow, you need some validation. However, some clients are a dream to work with, and some give you a lot of frustration. So you do not have to work with every client who wants to, excuse me, pay your services.
Yeah. And you often talk about the 70-30 rule. What does that have to do with the initial consultation?
This is where, when you're having that initial consultation, the 70-30 rule is where you want potential clients to be talking 70% of the time, and you're only talking 30% of the time. You do this by asking great questions, which we'll go into a little bit more in another minute or so.
So I've been in consultations where the other person never even bothered to ask anything beyond data gathering. What do you suggest we focus on during that initial consultation?
Well, if you think about it, a lot of times when you're in those initial consultations, they are doing a lot of talking and you're not really sharing that much about what's top in mind for you as far as why you're interested in actually even hiring them. Because that I want you to think about stepping into your client's shoes. We actually touched upon this yesterday with your marketing message and how it applies to attracting high value clients. Now we want to look at how to apply it with having that initial consultation. Once again, you want to find out what their particular challenges are, their frustrations, because people are not coming to hire you when things are good enough and status quo. There's some type of thing that got their attention, there's an urgency, and they need some help with it. So you want to find out what those challenges are. And then, because I know that you don't want to brag about how qualified you are to work with them, we want to educate them about the solutions we can offer to be able to remove those challenges or fix those things and get their financials accurate, up to date, and remove any tax stress that they might have as well. By doing these two things, understanding the challenges, educating them about the solutions that you offer, they're now seeing the value of your services and also realizing that you possibly offer more than just the technical part, that you are starting to position yourself as a consultant or advisor. I call this actually connecting the dots between the challenges, the solutions, and them recognizing the value of what you have to offer.
Yeah. Well, Loren, I know that this is a system because first you work with your clients so they know which questions to ask. However, you can also train their assistants to successfully enroll new clients. What are the best questions to ask during the initial consult?
Well, I'm just going to ask you if you have any favorite questions that you ask during initial consults that really help you to understand your clients and their needs, or what it is that they want to achieve. Please go ahead and share that in the chat, because we can learn from each other. I feel that this is a community of us lifting each other up. And it's a way of, when you give, you get, sometimes you get back in unexpected ways, but it's definitely a good place to come from. There's more than enough from all of us. So if you have any favorite questions that you left to ask, please put that in the chat. But the 3 types of questions that I encourage you ask is first about how much time, how much money, is it costing you? Do you have to gain? So those are some questions you want to actually quantify the cost of tolerating what's going on in their business right now regarding their financials. And then we want to get into the emotional cost, the frustration of not being able to move forward, or feeling stuck, or not having the time to be able to fix this. I realize that you are not therapists, but when we are talking about people and money, stuff comes up. People have what I call financial shame because they're not as savvy about the money part of their business as they are in the technical side of their business. So it's important that you dig into it by talking about that it starts to actually once again develop rapport. They realize that you care more about them and that they do well, that it's not just transactional. And as a result of that, they begin to trust you also. And when there's money being involved, they have to trust the person that they're allowing to see the inner secrets as far as their cash flow goes. So definitely find out about that emotional cost. It's very, very important. And then the last part of the questioning is work-life equation. Because as you know, when you're a business owner, it's not like you can just shut your laptop or walk out of your office at 5 o'clock at night and leave everything behind. If something's going on in your business and it's a concern for you, it comes over and overflows in your personal life as well. Or you think that you have to devote more time to your business because you don't have enough hours during the workday to take care of everything. So you're giving up your workout in the morning or family time or some church activities to be able to do this. So there's definitely a work-life equation cost. And it's possible that by working with you and getting their financials up to date and accurate, that they can gain back some of their personal time and raise their quality of life, just like we want to have with our business too. So you want to discuss those 3 types of questions: is how much, emotional cost, and work-life equation.
Well, and so what happens once you're done asking your questions?
Well, this is an advanced insight. After you've asked your questions, you want to go ahead and ask if they have any questions. And if they're interested in working with you, or if you really appeal to them and they want to know more, they'll actually ask you, how does this work? This means that you don't need to pitch, you don't need to sell. This is where you do the education about the solution. But before you do that, I want you to make a decision. You decide whether this is someone that you actually want to engage, or if they're not a right fit for you. If they're not a good fit for you, there's some red flags going on, you get this feeling in the pit of your stomach or the hairs on the back of your neck start to stand up, all you need to do is maybe give them some advice, bless them, and send them on the way. You are not obligated to work with someone who you feel is not a good fit for you. And if it's a fit, then go ahead and talk about how you can help them move forward, solve their problems, extend the invitation to onboard and work with you.
And Leslie said, I just lost it. I'll have to go back and get it. But Loren, first
you know what? I see what she said. Leslie
Okay.
said, one of the questions that she asked is, I asked if they're interested in learning light training on using their books and running their own reports. That way they're a bit familiar with what goes into me doing my work and why it takes the amount of time it does. Thank you so much for sharing that, Leslie. I know that's because somebody else will really benefit. They might not have thought about that before. And as you know, the more that you can get them financial savvy, the better client that they are, because they understand more of what you're actually doing.
Well, Loren, first you pre-qualify the prospects, and then you ask great questions like we were talking about during the consultation. If it's fit, you invite them to work with you. And this now takes us to the most critical part of the consultation, and that's the close and the objections.
Well, let me give you some context first. As an accounting professional, what I know is that you realize the numbers tell a story. You can see patterns, you gain insights, you understand how to take the data and actually apply it. Well, you are so well qualified to interpret those numbers and give your clients insights about their business in order for them to make better decisions. But this is true about the objections too. The objections tell a story as well. Instead of hearing an objection and getting all flustered, feeling that now it's a little bit of a confrontational conversation and maybe shutting down because they said, no, I can't afford it, or no, I didn't expect to pay that much. What I want you to do is really take that same curiosity you have about the numbers and apply it to that objection. You want to get curious, you want to find out more. All you need to do is ask them, tell me more. what's coming up for you? I'd like to better understand why you said that. So you can ask any one of those things. And from that, you'll get some insights into whether they actually have a question and they need more information, or maybe their interest, they just don't see the value of moving forward with you yet. And they need a little bit more details about how that works. And then with some people, the no is a real no, and that's okay. And if they're not interested in working with you, you understand that. All you need to do at that point, once again, is bless them and let them move on. Don't continue the conversation if they're really not interested. But so often those objections mean that they have other questions that they just didn't ask yet, or that they haven't fully seen the value and they need to continue the conversation before they make a decision. So just like the numbers tell a story, the objections tell a story as well.
I love that concept of the story, the numbers telling a story. That's great. So instead of objections throwing you off, figure out what your top 5 objections might be.
Right. And I would love for you to put that into chat. What do you see as the top objection? I know that price is going to come up for so many people. Is there anything in addition to price that you see as one of the most common objections? Please go ahead and share that in the chat. I would love to hear what you see. But what I would say is come up with your top 5 objections. And then what you want to do is take some time and create a soundbite as to how you would like to respond to that. Now, when that objection comes up, it's not going to throw you off. You're going to be prepared on how you want to respond. But I'm going to ask you to take it one step further. Go ahead and practice that soundbite out loud, because how it's actually written as a script might not sound right when you actually speak it out loud. And you want this to be conversational. You don't want it to be scripted. So once again, think about what are your top 5 objections. Go ahead and write out a soundbite as to what you think you would like to respond so it doesn't throw you off guard, and then practice it out loud, whether in front of the mirror, with your fur friend, or possibly with someone else, a coworker that will role play with you. So objection, Beth said it's mainly price, the amount of time it takes to perform some tasks. Josephina said, objection is client doesn't understand why they need a bookkeeper, accountant, tax preparer, or advisor. They think bookkeeping accountant can handle everything. Or some people just think if they get the QBO subscription that they have bookkeeping and they can get it done. So that is another thing. They don't understand why they need someone else to do it for them. So thank you for sharing those few objections.
Well, let's go ahead and get to the challenge part. And based on what we discussed, what challenge steps do you now want everyone to take between now and tomorrow? And tomorrow's our last day.
Well, the first thing is feedback from me is so important, because I can go ahead and once again make some adjustments, be able to serve you at a higher level, because I want to respect the time that you're spending with us today. And let me know if there's any comments, insights. Feel free to put that in the chat or email me later on. Would love to hear what it has been working for you and where you might still have questions. But as far as the challenge that I'm giving you is, I'd like you to consider the questions that you're going to include in your consultation. Write 2 questions that focus on how much, maybe one about time, the other about money. Create 2 questions about the emotional cost. It could be one about the frustration of dealing with this challenge, or the other could be about toleration. And finally, ask a question about the work-life equation. This lets them realize you understand that work concerns absolutely flow into the personal life as well. I'm going to go ahead and actually put all those things that I said for the challenge right in the chat, so you can grab that and you know what to do as far as your homework for today before we meet tomorrow, is to be able to carve out those questions, bring those into your initial consultations. But once again, please show up, join us tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific. It's the final of our Win High Value clients. And basically what we're going to focus on is pricing. It's one of my favorite topics. I believe that it is time to really take a good look at your rates and if your rates reflect the value that you offer your clients. So if that interests you, join us tomorrow. We're going to start to look at that. But also, if you know that it's time for you to raise your rates, you are looking to be able to get your rates up to your value, and you want to do that with all your clients, not just new clients coming in, but your legacy clients as well, then consider the Raise Your Rates formula. Once again, it starts May 31st. It's where you'll get the tools, the resources, the live coaching, where we roll up our sleeves, we get this done to be able to double, even triple your rates and be able to lighten your workload as well. As I mentioned before, doing this is like turning your accounting firm into your personal ATM machine. I did put that information in the chat too. So anything else that you want to add, Steve?
No, I think that that's good. I mean, I'm kind of anxious to go and hear what the challenge is going to be for talking about the next questions.
Great, great. So I believe that we covered everything that we have for today. I appreciate you taking time for working in your business, showing up, working on your business in advance move, gaining those insights. As I said, please take at least one action step and start to implement it immediately so you can raise the bar and serve your clients at a higher level. Thank you so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.